My name is Mackenzie Mock and I'll be doing UNE's Pathophysiology final presentation. Here's just a little outline of what I'll be discussing. Before I get started, I just want to state that everything will be in my own words, and I found all my information from my class textbook as well as on the National Psoriasis Foundation's website. For this presentation, I chose the disease of psoriasis since we briefly mentioned it in our last lecture covering the classification, but I wanted to teach you guys more about the background of it and why it's common amongst people in different age groups and genders. Psoriasis is a common chronic inflammatory skin disease that is caused by dysfunction of the immune system. People who tend to show this disease are likely to see red, thick plaque with an overlying silver white scale. Think of it as like crusty, scaly, like kind of like a fish. I don't know. But for the classification of psoriasis is papulosquamous dermatosis. Now, a few other diseases fall under this classification, like we learned in lecture, but this is one of the main ones that covers this classification. Psoriasis etiology is still uncertain. They're still trying to figure out why this is happening to many people. They have their assumptions, but are still, figuring it out. One thing I know for certain that 1/3 of people see a genetic recurrence, meaning many generations of family members get this, and they still don't know why, but they're just saying it is a genetic factor. Another reason that I found during my research is that active T lymphocytes produce chemical messengers that stimulate, I believe, abnormal growth of, I might say this wrong, keratinocytes and the blood vessels, dermal blood vessels. They're still doing a lot of research, but those are the two main ones that I saw during my research. A syndrome that is associated with psoriasis is metabolic syndrome, when someone is obese or just is not fully functioning the way their metabolism should be. We see this common skin disease amongst these type of people. Clinical manifestations. There's so many signs and symptoms that are associated with this disease. Some of the common ones are edema. Like I said before, you see red patches, thick silvery scales, which is common. Other things you see are pain and stiffness in the joints, the ligaments, and the tendons. People tend to be swollen because they're just itching so much, and it's just very uncomfortable. It's so inflamed that it swells up, and it's really hard to move. There's certain body parts that this disease has affected. We also see, like I said, a dry, crackling skin, and it could be bleeding, depending if someone itches it or just, a bunch of movement. It all varies person to person, but these are some common symptoms and signs that we see amongst people. Another thing that is very important is how someone will diagnose this disease, and usually someone will go and see a dermatologist, and this derm will do a biopsy, takes a little sample of the skin and look under a microscope just to see what's going on with your skin, and just determine if it's really psoriasis or something else, since there are many other diseases that are just like this. And Now, if someone's skin was bleeding, sometimes they'll take even a blood test and further test the blood to see if there's any underlying issues to why someone is showing these signs and symptoms. Like I said, psoriasis is associated with other diseases, just like it. It's really hard sometimes to determine what is what, but dermatologists know their stuff. And one other common disease that is just like psoriasis is atopic dermatosis. I think I said that wrong, but it's really common in children, but they also see it amongst other age groups. And it's just that red and itchy skin, like a rash, that affects children. You don't see really scaliness, but more inflamed red. Some possible complications to do with psoriasis has to do with obesity, like I mentioned before, with this syndrome. Another is eye conditions, since you could get inflammation around your eye. Also high blood pressure and arthritis. Some common spots that you would see psoriasis are going to be your elbows, knees, feet, face, palms. Anywhere you really think skin could get affected. And pretty much that's all over, but we see the common are, like I said, you're going to be your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, those places. Legs are common, and your back. If you see photos, you can see people there's red and scaly, kind of pretty much it's all over if you think about it. And so that's why this condition or disease is so common, because it could happen anywhere and it could happen amongst different age groups. So if you think about it, this is something we need to look more into, since there still is an uncertainty to why this is happening. But I just thought I'd point this out and further explain more about this disease. Yeah, thank you.